Welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea: why that whole one-size-fits-all approach to sharing information just doesn't work. And, more importantly, how we can do it better so our message actually connects with everyone.
So let me ask you this. Just think about it for a second. When you really need to understand something new, what do you reach for? Do you need to see a video, read an article, maybe listen to a podcast? Your answer, well, it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today.
Right, because the reality is, when it comes to learning and really understanding things, one size truly fits none. That single approach, that's the big challenge we're here to solve.
This might seem kind of obvious, but it's a fundamental truth. We all process information differently. So when we only give people one single path to understanding, like, say, a huge, dense block of text, we're accidentally putting up a wall for a huge chunk of our audience.
So, what's the fix? Well, there's this fantastic concept from Universal Design for Learning, and it's called multiple means of representation. Basically, this is where we shift from a single narrow path to a multi-lane highway of understanding. At its core, it's really just this: offering information in a bunch of different ways. And the goal here isn't just to be flashy or creative, it's to make absolutely sure that every single learner can access and truly connect with the material, no matter how their brain is wired. And that is such an important point. This is not about making more work for yourself or just repeating the same thing over and over. Nope. It's about being strategic. It's about offering different doorways: a video, a diagram, an audio clip, so that everyone can find their way in. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's crack open the toolbox and look at some of the practical tools you can start using right away. This table breaks it all down perfectly. So instead of just text, you could use a Venn diagram to show how two ideas overlap, or an animation to bring a process like, say, the water cycle to life. Each tool has its own superpower, right? An infographic can make complex data a total breeze to understand, while an audio version is a game changer for people who learn best by listening.
And hey, the toolbox doesn't stop there. Things like graphic organizers, storyboards, even cool interactive simulations, they all add more layers, giving learners even more ways to really get their hands dirty and engage with the content.
But here's the thing: offering a bunch of different formats is only half the story. If we're really going to design for everyone, we have to talk about accessibility. Because if the cool stuff we create isn't actually accessible, we're right back where we started, leaving people behind. This really gets to the core of it. Representation and accessibility have to go hand in hand. I mean, you can make the most amazing instructional video in the world, but if it doesn't have captions, it's a dead end for someone who is deaf or hard of hearing. The good news is, making your stuff accessible doesn't have to be some huge, complicated thing. These are simple, totally doable steps. Adding alt text to your images, captions to your videos, providing transcripts for your audio, using clean layouts. These are small changes that make a massive, massive difference for people using screen readers or other assistive tech.
And here is a perfect example of why this is so important. Look at the difference. Alt text that just says image of a volcano, well, it tells you next to nothing. But describing it as an eruption showing lava flowing from the crater, now you're painting a vivid picture for someone who can't see the image. That's the power of doing this right.
So why go through all this trouble? Well, because the benefits create this amazing ripple effect that actually helps every single person who interacts with your content.
Yeah, when we design this way, the results are just undeniable. People don't just get the material. They remember it better, they feel more confident in their own ability to learn, and because of that, they jump in and participate more. It just creates this awesome positive cycle. I really want to just pause on this for a second, because this right here, this is the big central takeaway. When you make something more accessible for one group, like, again, adding captions to a video, it turns out to be great for everybody. It helps the person watching in a noisy office, the person learning a new language, and the person who just wants to double-check what they heard. All right, so let's do a super quick recap. It all starts with representation. That's the what of learning. You got to use a whole toolbox of formats: visuals, audio, video, you name it. And you always have to build with accessibility in mind. Because, and this is the key, when you remove a barrier for one person, you almost always make the path easier for everyone else. And that brings us to one final thought for you to take with you. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a manager, or just someone who shares ideas with friends. What is one small barrier, just one, that you can remove today to make your message just a little bit more open and accessible for everyone?